Hey, welcome back to the Weekly Word Outdoor Adventures. Beautiful fall day here. Standing in the cemetery at Zion Hill Baptist Church just outside of Englewood, Tennessee. And much of our Weekly Word Adventures is doing a bunch of investigative research that we share with you, and sort of like being a detective sometimes. And I got to thinking about an old grave that I used to walk by when I was a kid back in the 60s. Dad and we would rabbit hunt in this area all the time. We had friends over here that owned a lot of land. They're long gone, but Mr. Henry Martin and Mr. Jim Carver, they're probably in this cemetery somewhere. But I used to walk through here following that pack of beagles in the 60s, and the cemetery was, it wasn't 20% of what it is now, that 50 years ago plus. And it was growed up. There was a lot of honeysuckle growing around the stones and stuff, and now it's cleaned up really good and looks nice, except what we're getting into in this day and time is everything's being mowed with these zero-turn mowers, and they're just destroying a lot of our old monuments. And we had a hard time finding this one. You can see what's left of it here. We had a good picture in Find a Grave from 20 years ago, but in the last 20 years it's been totally destroyed by these lawnmowers, I guess. And what we were able to do is line up the Find a Grave picture with that square stone and that white one over there and see the Morris on the base of it, and said it should be here. And who I was looking for, we confirmed it because we had his birth date and death date. He died he was born in the 1700s, and he died in 1839. But there's nothing left on the stone. But as I dug up some of the rocks that's been run over and over, I finally found enough. I got some water here to hopefully make it stand out a little bit. But maybe you can see the February and the October confirming the birth date and the death date that we found on Find a Grave for him. And who this is Israel Boone. And I had never forgotten him from a boy, because when I was a boy about that time, my favorite TV show every night, or once a week, was Daniel Boone. Fess Parker played Daniel Boone, and his Cherokee sidekick was Ed Ames. And Daniel, of course, had a son named Israel. And as boys, in grade school, we'd watch that, and we'd come to school the next day, and we'd talk about what Daniel Boone did last night. And then I'd hunt, and I'd walk by here, and I'd see Israel Boone's grave. And I thought, could that be the Israel Boone? And I never forgot about it. And here recently, it come back to my mind, and I looked it up on Find a Grave, and I said, I'm going to go look at that and do some research on it. And it is Israel Boone, but it's not Daniel's son. But it's close. It was so close I was surprised. It was Daniel's nephew settled in McMinn County. We're going to go see if we can find his grave here in a minute too. His name's Jesse. That's Israel's daddy. But Israel, of course, was named after his famous, I guess that'd be a cousin once removed or something there. But it is a connection. I thought that was pretty cool. But I guess you notice on the Weekly Word, we spend a lot of times in some of these old cemeteries and looking around. And I've been that way my whole life as a boy, rabbit hunting and stuff. We'd walk through a lot of these old growed up cemeteries and jump rabbits and stuff. But I still, even in my old age, enjoy just getting out and walking through these old cemeteries and reading the names and thinking about who these people were. I guess a good thing about walking through the cemetery is you meet people that they don't bother you. They don't give you any problem at all. But I always think about the lives that were lived, and I don't know, that's part of who I've been my whole life. For 33 years now I've been a pastor, and I've buried in 3 different states well over 100 people now. So you might say that I'm a man that's acquainted with death. And that's what the Old Testament says about the Messiah, Jesus. He would be acquainted with death. But more importantly, for you and I, he's acquainted with life. Jesus said, I've come that you may have life, and that you may have life more abundantly. And boy, that's good news. How's your life? Do you feel like you're living the abundant life? So many people, it's just sad. They're just in from one drama to the next one. It's always a pity party this. And I tell you what, we all get down in the dumps every once in a while, but when I feel like I'm starting to get down in the dumps, I kind of think the Lord reminds me that I'm too blessed to be depressed. And our grandparents was right when they said, count your blessings every day. Because if you'll count your blessings every day, it'll make you feel good. And I'm not talking about looking around seeing what you've accumulated with money and bank accounts and things that you can buy. Those can be blessings too. But the best blessings, money can't buy them. And you're blessed with them. Every one of you, I guarantee you. Just sit down and think about how blessed you are and thank the Lord. And there's not nothing wrong with being acquainted with death. We're all going to die, but you know what? If you've made your peace with God, Jesus came to give us a better life here in this world. But when it's come to time to die, I'm not afraid of death, because death is just a portal to leave this world to the best world. And that's good news. I hope you've made your peace with God. We're going to go look and see if we can find this other grave of Israel's daddy. He's getting way on back there too. So thanks for joining us with the Weekly Word, and make sure that you've joined up with the Church of the Living God by grace through faith in Jesus Christ. We'll see you next week, Lord willing.